deal. We had a deal with the Clinton campaign. When I say we had a deal, they sent over some snarky email 5 weeks before. That genius Robbie Mook every day. You know, all those geniuses on the Clinton campaign. Somebody asked me the other day in the reminiscence of the 8th, did I listen to her concession speech? No, I didn't listen to her concession speech. I had to listen to all those speeches she made in the campaign. I didn't want to lose that. Lost. I'm not going to listen to another one. You know, all those guys, all the men and women of the mainstream media, you know, they're crying that night, they're pulling their hair out, you know, because the day before, you know, we're going to get crushed in the Morning Joe, all the geniuses of the Morning Joe, and then when they got those exit polls, man, they were dancing around and high-fiving. By the way, that Hillary did. Here's what they said. They sent an email and said 15 minutes after the AP calls it. We'll call, if it calls it for you, we'll call it with a concession, and then you can go up. If not, we'll send it in 15 minutes, and we're going to walk up and give us a victory speech. Because they thought that since President Trump was closing with the rigged system, they didn't think that we might concede. At 5:31 on the 24th, or the 23rd of November, the Detroit Free Press called Michigan for Donald J. Trump. And last night I made a headline in New Hampshire. New Hampshire's vote's all rigged. Trump won New Hampshire, no doubt about it, right? They had the 6,000 people drive up that day without state license, driver's license registered on the day. Only 1,000 of them got cars registered there now. It's a total joke. Chris Kolash and those guys, and the guys in the voter integrity committee, don't say that. The mainstream media's heads will blow off. So look, we won 306. 2 faithless electors decided not to vote for Trump. That was sweet. But it's 306 in my book. 4 more, 310. The important question is, how did we do it, and what does it mean? Okay, so when I came in CEO on the 13th, after a New York Times story said the campaign was falling apart and all this bad stuff was Maggie Haberman and the New York Times would want to do, President Trump, I think, was roughly 12 to 16 down, double digits down just about every battleground state. I think it was like 70 on the generic ballot. We got to be at, I think it's 90. 9 out of every 10 registered Republicans have to vote for you to become president. I think he had 70 or something, some low number. Historically low, they told him. And the reason was a lot of Republicans didn't think he was a Republican, right? So how do we do it? In 85 days, how do we do this? It's real simple. It's called unity. It's called a coalition, right? Only thing I told the president when I took the job, I said, look, it's real simple. Forget all these polls, they're not relevant. Totally irrelevant. So the only couple of numbers are relevant, and my good friend Patriot, sitting right here, a Charleston resident. One of the great political thinkers around, even though he's a Democrat. Although they probably want you less than the Republicans. The 2 numbers Pat always said is the most important was right track, wrong track. 2/3 of the country thought we're on the wrong track, 1/3 the right track. And 75% of the American citizens thought our country was in decline. I said, that's it right there, it's a whole campaign. You're going to paint her. We're just going to focus, focus, focus. It's real simple. She's the tribune, the standard bearer for a corrupt and incompetent elite. And you are the tribune for change, the agent of change, right? All we have to do is give people permission to vote for you as an agent of change. And we're going to run the tables on them. He said, what? He said, how do you know, what's your odds of winning this thing? I said, 100% metaphysical certitude. On that Monday, right, after Brother Manafort and some other folks had left, right, a group of beauties. My buddy Corey was with me last night in New Hampshire, so we had Corey up to the thing. Corey's a good man. Corey up to the convention, then an interregnum, as we call it, and then the mid-August shift. But with 85 days to go, first call I made was to Reince Priebus and the folks at the RNC. I'd only met Reince once for a couple of minutes at the Breitbart Embassy in Capitol Hill to shake his hand during a Tea Party thing. I said, Reince, I don't know you very well, except what I read on the pages of Breitbart where we light you up every day. got to get on train and get up here. You guys bring Katie Walsh and Sean Spicer and your whole team. I need op research. I need rapid response. We've got to get it all. We got to go. It was a coalition. I'm a populist and I'm an economic nationalist, and I'm proud of it. Right? But we were only going to win with libertarians and limited government conservatives and establishment folks, okay? Because God bless President Bush 41, and I have tremendous respect for him as a man, as a person who served in World War II, as a politician. But I got to tell you, it does not set well with me when you say it's better to vote for Hillary Clinton than Donald J. Trump. It's just a total, you can't defend that. It's totally different. We disagree on a lot, right? A lot of people in this room, we disagree, and sometimes we disagree on important things. But on the fundamentals, on the general direction, we agree. It was that coalition, and we have to continue to remember that. It was that coalition that won. The single greatest come-from-behind victory in American political history. We had the greatest candidate. We had the best message, right? They raised, I think, $2.2 billion. I think we raised $500–600 million. We had no TV ads up. But what we had was the understanding that we had what in the digital age is the most important thing. We had a candidate with total authenticity versus a complete phony. Right? Here's what a phony she is. She just wrote another 900-page book. Right? Didn't she just write a 900-page book? And by the way, if this is a way to compensate her, why don't the publishing companies, big media companies, just write her a big check and say, don't write any more books. Just give her another $10 million. What happened? What happened? Ma'am, with all due respect, and I really mean this, what happened? You got your ass kicked. You won't get lit up and CNN anymore. I was just kidding. Just some humor. It was a coalition, right? We had a great candidate, a great message, but it took everybody pulling together. We had the Right to Life people out there. We had the Tea Party Patriots, all the Tea Party groups, right? We had the Catholic Vote guys, the value voters, the Family Research Council. Everybody could go ring a doorbell. The cadets in this, when they set them up in Virginia, they ring doorbells. That's how you win. You have candidates with authenticity. Candidates with authenticity. Big, actionable ideas. And an empowered grassroots that goes door to door, because in the digital age, it's not the commercials. You know what it is? It's somebody ringing a doorbell with passion and understanding of who you are as a candidate. At Goldman Sachs, it goes, don't invent anything, just perfect what's out there, right? You know what we're just perfecting? It's what David Axelrod, Barack Obama ran in 2008. That was a very smart campaign. He ran as a populist. He ran as a guy with no experience that was a benefit, and they had empowered grassroots in high technology. That's what won the Trump campaign in 2016. And it's what can win going forward. Now here's one of the problems. After we won with the coalition, we get to Washington, D.C., we have not learned how to govern as a coalition, right? The Republican establishment and the donors, most of whom are never Trumpers, right? I hate to bring up such a brutal fact. You detest God, but let me tell you something, you're never Trumpers, okay? The Republican Party had 16 men and women, and by the way, the finest, I think, field in the history of the Republican Party. The quality of those folks, Dr. Ben Carson, Rand Paul, Governor Chris Christie, Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, Carly Fiorina, just go on and on, 16 people. And these were quality folks, right? Trump cut through that as a sieve through grass. On a handful of issues, right? Yeah. Illegal immigration being one of them. Bringing jobs back to this country. Not the kind of thing you heard all the time from the Republican establishment. But But what resonated, and you could tell in those massive rallies, resonated with working men and women throughout this country, right? That's what won. It was Trump's message and how he connected to working class people. And by the way, as good and solid and decent as all those folks were, and as good as the Republican Party was to build those up over many, many years, and all the public service they had done, there's not one of those people that could have beaten the Clinton machine and Hillary Clinton. I can tell you, being the CEO of the campaign, right? We won at 2:30 in the morning. Hillary Clinton made that call. Next morning I went in, I think it was like 7 or 8 o'clock. And I can tell you, it was the hand of divine providence that won that.
Amen.
We were the island of misfit toys, okay? Trump looked at me that morning, had this bomber jacket on, I hadn't shaved in a week, I had my hair down to here, greasy. I don't think I'd bathed in 3 days. And I'm the CEO. They talk about mainstream media, Anderson Cooper's head's blowing up, they're talking about, Russian collusion, they got Russian. We couldn't collude between the RNC and the Trump campaign to the state of Pennsylvania. Collude that. Come on, I love you guys. That's why I teach you. I love you guys. You know that. There's so many good cry runs down there. They're running, white nationalist, supremacist Bannon. That's Citadel. Talking to hotheads down in South Carolina. Charleston, no less. So what happened? How do we get here 9 or 10 months when President Trump's trying to execute on this agenda? By the way, it's a tough agenda, right? There's two very important things happened in the last 10 days, right? President Xi of China gave a 3.5-hour speech. And if you haven't read that speech, it's 68 pages long. When you get home tonight, get on the internet, because you better read it. You better read it. Because your kids and your grandkids are going to live with it. Okay? President Xi, it's not a lot of jokes, right? He basically says that the Confucian mercantilists, authoritative model of China has won, right? They're the new great power. And they're not shy about talking about it. Folks talk about Brexit in 2016. Is Raheem Kassam here? Raheem? We got the editor of Breitbart London right there. Raheem, stand up. We started Breitbart London back in 2013 because we thought something was going on in